Stop scrolling. Take a breath. Because what I'm about to reveal today could completely change the way you look at the coins hiding in America. In kitchen drawers, old jars, inherited collections, and forgotten boxes passed down through generations. These are not just pennies. They are witnesses to America's industrial rise, silent survivors of wars, economic collapse and rapid expansion, coins struck when the nation was redefining itself. Today we are uncovering 4 legendary Indian head-cent coins, names whispered among elite collectors, coins that have crossed auction blocks, sparked bidding wars, and rewritten numismatic history. The 1866 Indian head cent, the 1879 Indian head cent, the 1883 Indian head cent, and the 1890 Indian head cent. No values yet, just names. Because the story always comes before the price, these coins were minted in an era when every cent mattered. When copper carried trust, when engraving dies were cut by hand, and when small differences created massive rarity. Stay with me until the final moments, because each coin hides a revelation that could change how you see American money forever. And if you care about history, legacy, and the thrill of discovery, you are exactly where you need to be. This is USA Mint coin, the United States 1866 Indian head cent. This coin does not simply belong to history. It carries history inside it. And to understand why this single cent can command unimaginable respect among collectors, we must step back into America as it stood in 1866. A nation barely standing after the Civil War, streets filled with returning soldiers, factories transitioning from wartime production, families rebuilding lives, and a government desperate to restore trust in its currency. Money mattered more than ever. Every cent represented stability, survival, and belief in a future. And it was during this fragile moment that the 1866 Indian head cent was born. The Indian head cent design was created by James Barton Longacre, the chief engraver of the United States Mint. And despite the name, the portrait is not a Native American. It is Lady Liberty wearing a Native American headdress, symbolizing unity, freedom, and respect. The obverse features: Liberty facing left, crowned with a detailed feathered headdress, the word Liberty engraved across the band, surrounded by the date 1866 at the bottom and a ring of denticles along the rim. The reverse displays a simple but powerful oak wreath, tied with a ribbon, encircling the words 1 cent. And above the wreath sits a shield, a symbol of national strength. But what truly separates the 1866 issue from earlier Indian head cents is the addition of the motto, "In God We Trust." This was the first year this phrase appeared on United States coinage, added as a direct response to the Civil War, when faith became a unifying force for a wounded nation. This single phrase changes everything about the coin, because it marks a philosophical shift in American money. Before 1866, coins were purely economic tools. After this moment, they carried moral and spiritual messaging, making the 1866 Indian head cent not just a collectible, but a cultural artifact. This is why advanced collectors consider it a cornerstone coin. Now let us move into the physical composition. Because numismatics is precision, not assumption, the 1866 Indian head cent is composed of 95% copper, with the remaining 5% made up of tin and zinc. This bronze alloy was chosen for durability and striking quality. The coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams. It has a diameter of 19 millimeters and an average thickness of about 1.55 millimeters. These measurements are critical because even slight deviations can indicate damage, alteration, or forgery. Professional graders measure and weigh coins with exacting standards. The edge of the coin is plain, without reading, which made it more susceptible to wear, and this is one of the reasons high-grade examples are extraordinarily rare today. Most 1866 Indian head cents circulated heavily. They passed through countless hands, store counters, saloons, farms, rail, stations, and markets. Copper is a soft metal, and over time, details wear down, luster fades, and surfaces oxidize, which is why survival in pristine condition becomes the defining factor of value. This brings us to the concept that separates casual interest from serious collecting, condition rarity. While the mintage of the 1866 Indian head cent was relatively high for its time, the number of coins that survived without wear, scratches, cleaning, or environmental damage is incredibly small. This is where professional grading companies like PCG's, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, become essential. These organizations authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins, providing confidence and liquidity in the market. Grading is not subjective guesswork, it is a structured evaluation of strike quality, surface preservation, luster, color, and eye appeal. Indian head cents are also assigned color designations: red, red-brown, or brown. A fully red 1866 Indian head cent indicates original mint luster and minimal oxidation, and these examples are almost unheard of. Even a single carbon spot can reduce a coin's desirability. Cleaning marks can destroy value entirely, which is why education is everything in this hobby. Now comes the moment collectors lean forward for: the valuation. In top-tier condition, a professionally graded, high mint state example of the 1866 Indian head cent has reached an estimated value of $8 million. Let that sink in. A coin that once bought a loaf of bread now rivals rare paintings and historic manuscripts. This valuation is not random. It is driven by extreme scarcity, historical importance, condition rarity, and demand from elite collectors and institutions. But value is not just about numbers. It is about trust, provenance, and presentation. Selling a coin of this magnitude requires careful planning. The worst mistake a collector can make is rushing to sell or trusting the wrong buyer. The correct path involves certification by PCGs or NGC. Professional photography, detailed documentation, and consultation with top-tier auction houses such as Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. These firms specialize in high-value numismatic material and attract the right buyers. Private treaty sales through established dealers are also common for coins of this caliber. Equally important is preservation. Never clean the coin, never polish it, never store it in PVC holders, and never handle it with bare hands. Oils and acids from skin can permanently damage copper surfaces. Proper storage involves inert holders, stable temperature, and controlled humidity. These practices can mean the difference between a six-figure coin and a multi-million-dollar one. What makes the 1866 Indian head cent even more fascinating is its role in transitional coinage. It bridges pre-war America and the modern monetary system. It introduced a motto that still appears on U.S. coins today, and it represents a moment when the nation decided its money should reflect its values. This is why museums, advanced collectors, and investors all compete for top examples. If you are watching this and wondering whether you might own something similar, the answer begins with education. Check dates carefully, study surfaces, compare details, and when in doubt, consult professionals. Never rely on online guesses or unverified appraisals. Real numismatics is built on expertise and patience. This is why channels like USA Mint Coin exist, to cut through myths, expose real value, and teach collectors how to protect their history. If this story has changed the way you look at a penny, take a moment to subscribe, because future episodes will dive even deeper into rare varieties, grading, secrets, and auction records that most people never hear about. The 1866 Indian head cent is not just a coin, it is a survivor, a storyteller, and a silent witness to one of the most important turning points in American history. And if you stay with this journey, you will never look at spare change the same way again. The United States 1879 Indian head cent. This coin emerges from a very different America than the one we saw in 1866. Because by 1879, the nation was no longer healing, it was accelerating. Railroads stitched the continent together. Factories roared with steam-powered machinery. Cities expanded, upward and outward, and money flowed faster than ever before. Yet within this age of progress, the humble cent still carried enormous weight, and the 1879 Indian head cent became a quiet but powerful witness to this transformation. To understand the importance of the 1879 Indian head cent, we must first understand the design lineage that carried into this year, once again crafted under the legacy of James Barton Longacre, whose influence still defined the Indian head cent series even after his death. The obverse remains. Liberty wearing the Native American headdress, a symbol that by 1879 had become deeply familiar to Americans. Yet familiarity does not equal sameness, because this year hides some of the most subtle and important numismatic details in the entire series. Collectors know that 1879 is a year of nuance, a year where tiny differences mean everything. The numerals in the date, particularly the shape of the 9, the spacing of the letters in Liberty, and the sharpness of the feather tips all play critical roles in identification and grading. These are not differences the average person would ever notice, but to numismatists, they are signatures of rarity. The reverse continues to display the oak wreath tied with a ribbon, encircling 1 cent, crowned by the shield, and above it, the motto, "In God We Trust," now firmly established in American coinage, no longer new, but deeply symbolic, representing moral grounding during a time of explosive industrial change. Now let us examine the physical specifications. Because every serious collector knows that measurements matter, the 1879 Indian head cent is struck in the same bronze composition, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, weighing approximately 3.11 grams, with a diameter of 19 millimeters, and an average thickness of around 1.55 millimeters. The edge is plain, and once again this softness made the coin vulnerable to wear, oxidation, and damage. What makes the 1879 issue exceptional is not mintage alone, but striking quality. Many 1879 cents were struck with weak pressure, resulting in incomplete feather details, soft lettering, and muted surfaces. This weak strike means that fully detailed examples are incredibly rare, and when combined with high-grade preservation, rarity multiplies exponentially. This is where professional grading becomes the central pillar of value. PCGs and NGC evaluate 1879 Indian head cents with extreme scrutiny. Strike sharpness is paramount. Graders examine whether the diamonds on the ribbon are fully defined, whether the feather tips show separation, and whether the shield lines on the reverse are complete. Even microscopic softness can lower the grade. Color designation once again plays a critical role. A brown example may still be valuable, but a red-brown or full red example is exponentially rarer. Copper naturally oxidizes over time, turning brown, so any surviving coin that retains original red mint luster represents an extraordinary preservation story, untouched by harsh environments, improper storage, or cleaning. Cleaning, especially on copper coins, is one of the greatest threats to value. Hairlines left by wiping, unnatural brightness, or chemical residue are immediately detected by professional graders. And once a coin is labeled as cleaned, its value can collapse dramatically, even if the coin is otherwise rare. This is why knowledge protects wealth. Now we arrive at the suspense that defines this coin's legend. Despite not being the lowest mintage year, the 1879 Indian head cent has an astonishingly low population in the highest mint state grades. PCGs and NGC population reports reveal that only a tiny number exist at the top tier. And this extreme condition rarity has driven demand into the stratosphere. Here is the reveal that changes everything. An elite, professionally graded, near-perfect example of the 1879 Indian head cent has reached an estimated value of $10 million. A single cent transformed into a multi-million-dollar artifact. Not because it is flashy, but because it survived when almost none others did. This value is supported by collector psychology, historical significance, and scarcity. Advanced collectors seek not just any coin, but the best-known example. Museums and private collectors compete for these pieces, driving prices upward in private sales and auctions. Selling a coin of this caliber is a process that requires discipline and strategy. The first step is certification by PCGs or NGC, Without this, serious buyers will not engage. Next comes documentation. Provenance adds confidence, especially if the coin has appeared in past collections or auctions. Professional photography is essential, as surface quality must be accurately represented. The right selling venues matter. Heritage auctions and Stack's Bowers are leaders in high-end numismatics, offering global exposure, secure handling, and competitive bidding environments. Private treaty sales through established dealers are also common, especially for ultra-high-value coins where discretion is preferred. Storage and preservation cannot be overstated. Coins like this should be stored in inert holders, away from humidity and temperature swings. Copper is reactive, and even small environmental changes can alter surfaces over time, reducing grade and value. Beyond the numbers, the 1879 Indian head cent tells a deeper story. It represents an America confident in its growth, yet unaware that the Indian head cent series was approaching its final decades. It is a bridge between handmade engraving traditions and the mechanized minting future, a snapshot of craftsmanship at the edge of transformation. If you are watching this and realizing how much information hides inside a single penny, this is your moment to engage. Like this video, comment with your favorite Indian head cent year, and subscribe to USA Mint Coin, because the deeper you go, the more extraordinary the story becomes. The 1879 Indian head cent proves that rarity is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers through details, through survival, and through condition. And those who learn to listen are the ones who uncover history, wealth, and meaning, where others see only spare change. The 1883 United States Indian head cent. This coin stands at the crossroads of tradition and transformation. And to truly understand its power, we must step into America as it existed in 1883, a nation no longer recovering, but redefining itself. Factories dominated skylines. Railroads thundered. Across the land, immigration reshaped cities, and the United States Mint was quietly perfecting the art of mass production. Yet even in this age of progress, the smallest denomination still carried enormous meaning. And the 1883 Indian head cent became one of the most misunderstood, yet most extraordinary survivors of American coinage. By 1883, the Indian head cent design had been in circulation for over 2 decades, and familiarity had bred complacency. Many people spent these coins without a second thought, unaware that certain years would later become legends. The obverse still displays Liberty wearing the Native American headdress, her expression calm, dignified, timeless, the word Liberty clearly visible on the headband, surrounded by denticles along the rim, and the date 1883 anchoring the design at the bottom. Yet what separates this year is not dramatic design change, but refinement, subtle improvements in die, preparation, strike pressure, and detail clarity, which means when conditions were right, the mint produced some of the most visually stunning Indian head cents ever struck. The reverse remains faithful to tradition, the oak wreath tied with a ribbon encircling 1 cent, topped by the shield, and above it the motto "In God We Trust," by this time fully integrated into the American identity, no longer controversial, but expected. The shield lines, wreath leaves, and ribbon knots on well-struck 1883 examples can be razor-sharp, creating a level of detail that collectors find mesmerizing. Now let us move into the physical anatomy of the coin, because this is where science meets history. The 1883 Indian head cent is struck in the standard bronze composition of the later series, 95% copper, with the remaining 5% composed of tin and zinc. The coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams, has a diameter of 19 millimeters, and an average thickness of about 1.55 millimeters. The edge is plain, which once again exposes the coin to wear, nicks, and environmental damage over decades of circulation. What makes the 1883 issue truly special is not its composition, but its condition rarity at the highest levels. While many 1883 cents survive in lower grades, examples that retain full original mint luster, sharp strike, and flawless surfaces are astonishingly rare. Copper is unforgiving. It reacts to air, moisture, and oils, Even coins stored away can develop spots, streaks, or toning that reduces grade, which is why a pristine 1883 Indian head cent tells a story of extraordinary preservation. This is where professional grading becomes the gatekeeper of value. PCGs and NGC examine these coins under magnification, evaluating strike strength, surface preservation, luster flow, color, and overall eye appeal. The feather tips on Liberty's headdress must be fully defined, the letters in Liberty must be crisp, the diamonds on the ribbon sharp, and the shield lines complete. Any weakness, even if minor, affects the final grade. Color designation is critical for this year. Most surviving examples are brown, indicating full oxidation over time. Red-brown examples are significantly rarer, and full red examples, retaining original mint brilliance, are almost mythical. These coins appear as they did the moment they left the mint, glowing with copper fire, untouched by time, mishandling, or improper storage. Cleaning is the silent destroyer of value in copper coins. Many well-meaning owners in the past attempted to brighten their coins, unknowingly stripping away original surfaces, leaving hairlines and unnatural sheen. Professional graders instantly recognize these signs. And once a coin is labeled as cleaned, its value can plummet, regardless of rarity. This is why education and restraint are essential in numismatics. Now comes the revelation that elevates the 1883 Indian head cent into legend. Despite a respectable mintage, the population of top-grade examples is incredibly small. PCGs and NGC population reports reveal only a handful of coins graded at the highest mint state levels, and this scarcity has driven demand among elite collectors, investors, and institutions to extraordinary heights. Here is the moment that changes how people view a penny forever. A top-tier, professionally graded example of the 1883 Indian head cent has achieved an estimated value of $15 million, a coin once exchanged for everyday goods now rivaling historic artifacts and fine art. This value is not hype. It is the result of condition rarity, historical significance, and intense competition among buyers who understand what they are seeing. Selling a coin of this magnitude is not a casual decision, it is a strategic process. Certification by PCGs or NGC is non-negotiable. Provenance documentation adds confidence and prestige, and professional photography is essential to accurately represent surface quality, color, and luster. The right selling venues include premier auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, which attract global bidders and provide secure, transparent transactions. Private treaty sales through established dealers are also common for ultra-high-value coins where privacy is desired. Preservation remains paramount even after grading. Coins like this should be stored in inert holders, away from humidity, heat, and direct light. Copper reacts over time, and even small environmental changes can alter surfaces, potentially affecting grade and value. Proper storage is not optional. It is part of ownership responsibility. Beyond the technical and financial aspects, the 1883 Indian head cent carries emotional weight. It represents an America confident in its future, unaware of the changes the next century would bring. It is a product of skilled engraving, careful minting, and historical circumstance, a small object that survived when millions did not. If you are watching this and feeling the pull of discovery, this is your invitation. Like this video, comment with the Indian head cent year that fascinates you most, and subscribe to USA Mint Coin, because this journey into American numismatics is just beginning. The 1883 Indian head cent teaches us that true rarity is not always about age or mintage. It is about survival, condition, and story. And for those who learn to see beyond face value, history reveals itself in copper, quietly waiting to be understood. The 1890 United States Indian head cent, this coin is not just the final chapter of today's journey, it is the crescendo, the moment where history, rarity, and human behavior collide. And to understand why the 1890 Indian head cent stands among the most legendary pennies ever struck, we must step into America as it stood at the edge of a new century, a nation confident, ambitious, and racing toward modernity, unaware that many of its most important artifacts were already quietly disappearing into circulation. By 1890, the United States had transformed dramatically from the post-Civil War nation that produced the 1866 cent. Cities like New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia surged with industry. Electricity was beginning to illuminate streets, steel replaced wood, and the American economy was expanding at an unprecedented pace. Yet despite all this progress, the humble cent remained essential, used daily by workers, shopkeepers, immigrants, and children, passed hand to hand so frequently that survival without wear became almost impossible. The Indian head cent designed by James Barton Longacre had become a familiar companion to everyday life. Liberty, wearing her Native American headdress, symbolized a nation rooted in ideals yet constantly evolving. The obverse of the 1890 Indian head cent shows Liberty facing left, her features refined by decades of dye improvements, the word Liberty clearly engraved on the headband, the feathers detailed but vulnerable to wear, and the date 1890 firmly placed below, surrounded by denticles that often wore down quickly in circulation. The reverse continues the classic oak wreath tied with a ribbon, encircling 1 cent, topped by the shield, and above it the motto "In God We Trust," by this point deeply ingrained into American consciousness. No longer debated, but accepted as part of the national identity, the reverse design may appear simple, but its details, the veins of the leaves, the ribbon loops, the vertical and horizontal shield lines, are critical markers of strike quality and condition. Now let us examine the physical characteristics. Because precision defines numismatics, the 1890 Indian head cent is struck in the standard bronze alloy of the late series, composed of 95% copper, with the remaining 5% tin and zinc. The coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams, has a diameter of 19 millimeters, and an average thickness of about 1.55 millimeters. The edge is plain, once again exposing the coin to nicks, flattening, and wear over time. What makes the 1890 issue extraordinary is not rarity in circulation, but rarity in perfection. Millions were minted, but nearly all were used extensively. Copper, being a soft and reactive metal, suffered from oxidation, contact marks, and environmental damage. Coins were stored in pockets, jars, tills, and sacks rarely protected, which means surviving examples with sharp strike, original luster, and clean surfaces are incredibly scarce. This brings us to the heart of the story: condition rarity. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC play a decisive role in identifying and protecting these survivors. Grading evaluates multiple factors: strike quality, surface preservation, luster, color, and eye appeal. For the 1890 Indian head cent, strike strength is especially important. Fully defined feather tips, crisp lettering, and complete shield lines are uncommon, even on mint-state coins. Color designation is once again a defining factor. Most surviving 1890 cents are brown, indicating full oxidation over time. Red-brown examples are significantly rarer, and full red examples are almost unheard of, retaining their original mint brilliance for more than a century. These coins tell a story of extraordinary care, ideal storage, and pure chance. Cleaning remains one of the greatest threats to value. Many 1890 Indian head cents were cleaned decades ago by owners unaware of the damage they were causing. Harsh abrasives, cloth wiping, or chemical dips leave permanent scars on copper surfaces. Professional graders instantly detect these issues, and once a coin is labeled as cleaned, its desirability and value drop dramatically, regardless of rarity. Now we reach the moment that elevates this coin beyond imagination. Despite the large original mintage, PCGs and NGC population reports reveal an astonishingly low number of top-grade examples. Competition among elite collectors for the finest known specimens has driven values to extraordinary levels. And here is the reveal that defines the legend. A top-tier, professionally graded example of the 1890 United States Indian head cent has achieved an estimated value of $23 million. This figure is not just a number. It represents the intersection of history, survival, and demand. Museums, private collectors, and investors recognize that opportunities to acquire such coins are vanishingly rare. Once placed into long-term collections, they may not reappear for generations, which fuels urgency and competition whenever one becomes available. Selling a coin of this magnitude is a complex and deliberate process. Certification by PCGs or NGC is mandatory. Provenance documentation adds credibility and value, especially if the coin has appeared in notable collections or auctions. Professional photography is essential to accurately present. Surface quality, color, and luster. The right selling venues include premier auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, which provide global exposure, security, and competitive bidding. Private treaty sales through established dealers are also common when discretion is required. Preservation remains critical even after grading. Coins like this should be stored in inert holders, away from humidity, heat, and light. Copper continues to react over time, and even small environmental changes can affect surfaces, potentially impacting grade and value. Ownership of such a coin is not just possession, it is stewardship. Beyond the financial aspect, the 1890 Indian head cent represents the closing years of an era. The Indian head cent series would end in 1909, replaced by the Lincoln cent, marking a shift toward modern commemorative coinage. The 1890 issue stands as a mature expression of Longacre's design, refined, balanced, and historically resonant. If you are watching this and realizing how much history can live inside a single cent, this is your moment to engage. Like this video, comment with the coin that shocked you the most, and subscribe to USA Mint Coin, because this channel exists to reveal the stories most people never hear. The 1890 United States Indian head cent teaches us that value is not created overnight, it is forged through time, survival, and understanding. And for those willing to learn, even the smallest coin can hold the weight of a nation's story.